just going to do it.
Good. So as a family, we just want to say welcome to Port Macquarie Seventh-day Adventist Church, and we pray that this will be a great experience for you here.
Yeah.
Is that your sentiment too?
Thank you.
That's a warm hand.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Howard.
Boom.
Dwayne, come to the podium here. I'm just going to let you tell the story. So I'm not even going to ask you any question, but it's good to have you here this morning to share with us your story. Welcome.
Isn't it great to welcome a new family member? Yeah. I've had a bit of a journey that some of you will be aware of some of it, and I'd like to start by sharing a promise, Romans 8:28. And we know that God does not allow bad things to happen to those that love him and are called according to his purpose. Now hang on, is that right? It's not right, is it? Let's try another one. We'll try it again. And we know that God causes everything to work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose. It's not quite the same, is it? Yeah. When you start your journey out with God, the devil gets active, and sometimes unpleasant things do happen. So I grew up in the church. As many of you will remember me as a little tyke. I was a lot younger and a lot skinnier. Something that had an impact on me with the youth group growing up in the church was a fellow by the name of Chris Walsh, awesome guy, was an assistant youth leader, and he told us a story one night about a log in a fire. You know, if you take the log out of the fire, what happens to it? Does it keep burning? And that's kind of been my journey. I've had a roaming lifestyle, and slowly over the years I've kind of left the church. And in the years of 97 to 2010, I've had a number of things that have happened that weren't very pleasant, but they gave me plausible explanations for some of the symptoms that I'm going to describe to you, other than what really was the problem. In 2008, I had my wife was becoming unhappy and accused me of being depressed, which I didn't want to think was true. And over the time from 2010 on, my right eye started to lose vision. No one was particularly interested in that. And I lost the ability to enjoy stuff that I had previously, you know, music, social activities, etc. And began to lose my drive to get things done, you know. Over time, I even got to the stage where I couldn't do housework anymore, which didn't help the mood of the wife. Began to withdraw into my own company because I was hurting other people. I didn't mean to, but that's just what was happening. Got diagnosed with depression and started dancing around counsellors. None of them lasted very long. Some of them even stopped taking my phone calls over time. Updated my glasses in 2013, told them about my eye, weren't interested. Moved back from the far west to Victoria and wasn't able to find work, so I moved to the city and, surprised, got a separation from the missus because she was no longer able to cope with how bad I'd become. And I just kept having trouble with others, but never realised there was only one common denominator in that. Eventually, the lack of drive came so bad that I was not even able to do normal hygiene type things, you know, take a shower, brush my teeth, that sort of stuff. There was a real problem, but I didn't know what it was. No one knew what it was. And the way I was getting along with others became so bad that I just had to completely withdraw to try and avoid hurting people. And eventually the wife gave up and asked for a divorce. By this time I'd moved home, had no money, on Centrelink, off and on. That was another story. But I knew that I needed to update my glasses, didn't have any money, but eventually I got a letter from the RMS and they said, well, you better come in and renew your licence. And they worked out that my right eye was no good. And I said, well, to get your truck licence back, you need to be able to see, so you better go off and see an optometrist. So off I went. And the optometrist looked in my eye, first time anyone ever had, and said, hang on, there's nothing wrong in there. The problem's not in your eye. Maybe there's something else going on. I'm going to send you to a specialist. And the specialist did an MRI, and that's what they found. What's in red there, it's in the red circle, is a tumour of between 7 and 10 centimetres. So they said when they discovered that, this tumour is going to kill you within weeks, unless we do something about it. So let's check out that promise again. And we know that God causes everything to work together for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. Not looking too good, that promise, is it? But that's not the end of the story. 2 weeks from diagnosis, I was on a table in Sydney for 11 and a half hours. They managed to get it all, and it was benign. So, there's a blessing. And during that time, we discovered multiple answers to prayer. People had been praying for me that I didn't have any idea that they were. Some of you were, and I'd like to thank you for that. Prayers have been answered. It works. While still virtually unable to move in the hospital bed, I started to notice that I had a desire to help comfort the guys that were around me, sharing, there's some very sick people in there. And the symptoms were completely gone. Occasionally I'd have a slight headache, but that's about it. Get along well with people, got my drive back, but I know that I've hurt people over the years, so I've started asking for forgiveness. Some have forgiven me, some haven't. But going through that process gives you a whole new appreciation for the story of salvation. Getting my sense of humour back. How are you feeling, Dwayne? Oh, a bit lightheaded. There's much more. I won't trouble you with it. I know now that even when things don't go the way I think they should, God's got something cool just round the corner. He had to bring me to my knees to bring me back to him. I was arrogant. I thought I'm okay. I got it under control. Far from the truth. While there, I had to let go of while in hospital, I had to let go of my dignity, which lets me get up and talk to people. Anyone who knew me as a kid, getting up in front of people is not something I really enjoyed doing or am very good at. Just one short story. When I got back, still on a cane, very wobbly on my feet, not very well at all yet, I went back to the optometrist that originally referred me to the specialist, and very seriously went up to the receptionist there and said, I want to talk to this young lass and the manager, please. And she's like, oh, okay, just a second. She disappears out the back and she comes back. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. She said, the manager's not here, but the assistant manager is. Is that okay? I said, yep, that'll be fine. So they shuffle me off into a little room, sit me down, and they're both looking quite nervous about what I might be about to say. And the assistant manager said, okay, what's she done? I said, no, it's not like that. Turn around and look her dead in the eye and say, I want to thank you. Your professionalism saved my life. And the tears flowed. But when she regained her composure, she said, would you mind if I do a case study on what's happened here? I said, yeah, sure, if you think it might help someone. And I ran into her about a month later and she said, oh, put that case study up on the Facebook page for our company. We've got 1,800 optometrists working for us. And she said, the most response I've ever seen to a story put up on our Facebook page is 20 likes. She said, less than a week, and we've already got over 200. And her email inbox is overflowing with other optometrists saying, oh my God, what are we missing? We never would have referred this problem. So hopefully down the track someone else will benefit. The cost of this journey has been high, but getting back to God, the payoff is worth it. So don't feel sorry for me. I'm just excited to see what he's got in store next. Thank you.